All right, so now they're coming out with inverters that do both 24 and 48 volt auto detect. This allows you to upgrade your RV, your camper. I mean, it's only a 2,000 watt. They do sell a 3,000 watt also. But as you can see, you know, the inputs are here on the end with the fans, and the other end has an output where you can connect up outlets, additional outlets and stuff, or you can just use the wall plugs that are on there. We're going to open up the box here and let me give you an idea of what's inside it. Comes with a couple of nice accessories here. Of course, the manual, product spec sheet. It's like quick product introduction, kind of gives you all the specs and everything that we'll go over. A cable for communication to the display, battery cables, a nice little resistor to prevent sparks, a little 5 water. I have 10 waters that I've shown you guys before. And then of course the device. And it's packaged in a nice piece of foam on both sides, nice suspended in the middle. And that's pretty much it. All right. So let me show you how I would charge this with the capacitor. Now, if I was to touch this to the positive there would be a large spark, and I really don't want that large spark. I could cook it up over here, and I could just flip the switch on, and that would solve the problem and get that capacitor charged. But I want to show you, for those of you who don't have the ability to set it up on a switch like this, the easiest way to do this is, and let me just kind of give you an idea how this works. And in order to see it actually function, we're going to hook the screen up here while we're at it. And I'm just going to take the screen and connect it. I have it in the off position. Now, if I was to take this and touch it there, even in the off position, there is going to be capacitors in there that are going to charge. So that is why they send you this resistor. Now, this is a 5 watt resistor. I usually keep around my table. Here's one. I usually keep around little 10 watt capacitors, resistors. You can order these off of Amazon. They're cheap. You can order a package of 10 of them for a couple of bucks. But I'm going to use the one that came with it just to show you how it works. So this side we know is live. So what you want to do is you want to take this resistor and hold it to there and then push it over here. And what will happen is it will slowly allow the power to go into the inverter as opposed to a big giant inrush. And once you have it completely charged, or you have it charged for a few seconds, then you can connect the wire and there won't be any spark. And now if I was to just take it and touch it to it directly without doing this resistor first, then what would happen is that all that power would rush through that big wire and hit that thing, and there would be this giant spark. But now that I've done all of that, I can take this and I can connect this, and it would connect without any spark, and this should come on at this point. And there it is. So that is why we use the resistor. Now I'm going to turn this back off, and I'm going to move it over to the other side of this switch so that I have the ability to turn the power off to it and do maintenance on it whenever I want. All right, now let me tighten that down. I'm going to double check this one here, and I'm going to tighten this one over here down. Now if I turn this back on, everything's going to come back on, and we can now turn this on with the switch. Now if you have it to where you don't want this switch connected, there are 3 options over here. There are on, there's off, and there's remote control. I put it on remote control, so now this will actually control whether or not this device comes on or off. But there is, on the side of this device, a switch where you could just turn it on. So if you were doing maintenance in your RV and didn't want to go inside and get to the switch and turn it on, you can flip it on right here. You can also flip it off here regardless of where it's turned on. So that makes it very easy. So I'm going to switch it back to remote control, and I'm going to turn it on with the remote control. And now we have the inverter is on, and it is functioning, and working. So let's give it a little bit of a try here. Let's see if it can do some kind of draw pull on it. As you can see here, we got 0 watts coming out. Now, can you see that? I'm going to move this camera a little bit closer. So now we're back. You can see the voltage here is 26.3. We're at 120 volts, 60 hertz, and we are at 0 watts draw. I have nothing plugged into this. We just hooked it up. And I am going to plug in this dryer, and you can see now we are pulling 1400 watts. I'm going to stick that out the door here so we can clearly see what's going on and I can talk to you. It's at 1400 watts, and it does have, the fans are running, but they're not anywhere near. I wouldn't have noticed they were running if I had not stuck this outside. I'm going to turn this off. It drops back down to 0. I'm going to turn it on low, and it runs at 730 watts. Now, that's a pretty good test. That's 1500 watts. Either way, it's safe to say here that this is working. It was able to run 1500 watts. I ran that for a good 20 or 30 minutes, no problems there. And I'm going to pull this cover off here, and let's see what it's going to take to actually hook it up. Oh yeah, this is easy. Okay, so let's just do this while we're here. Let's see what happens here. I have a spare wire here that is rated for 16 amps of charging. So I will connect it. We got the in, out, and ground. So this is AC in at the top. Let me just kind of give you an idea of what that looks like real quick. All right, there's our connectors there. So what I'm going to do is connect these. We got 3 wires here. We got neutral, line, and ground. So we will be connecting these up. All right, so let me show you what the problem is here. These little bitty clamps, when you loosen these screws, this little metal slides up out of the way. So you got to push it up out of the way and slide your wire in there. And I used a really good sized wire, so it's a really tight fit. So you're going to have to be careful getting those wires in and make sure they're in good. Here's how it ended up. Here's what it ended up looking like before I've got the covers on it, but I do have the wire in it and everything now. Now it says that it has bypass. And the question is, does it have charging? And I don't know the answer to that. So we're going to have to find out here and see what happens when we plug it in. So I'm going to turn it back on. As you can see, everything came back on. All the Victrons are blinking again, meaning that they're all there. We will turn the inverter on. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put this on automatic, and I'm going to plug back in the screen. I like having the screen because it tells me what it's doing. Otherwise, I really don't have any way to know what it's doing. So I'm going to plug that back in, let this hang down in our way. Just set that up here temporarily. It does not want to stay. It just does not want to stay. Okay, so we'll hold it. And then I'm going to plug it in. And we're going to see if it goes in, when it goes into bypass mode. Turn it on this. Now it's controlled from this. And I'm going to put the charger back on here. And there's our load. Now the question is, what happens when it shows it in bypass mode? And I'm going to plug it in and we're going to find out. Okay, I did hear it click, and I saw the voltage jump to 122, but I don't see anything that shows it in bypass mode or anything like that. It just doing it. All right, the solar shed has decided that it is time for me to go to bed for the second time tonight. So I'm going to call it quits, and we'll continue this testing tomorrow. It is almost midnight here at the solar shed, so we will talk to you guys tomorrow. See you then. All right. Now, I'm going to change this now to the high speed, And then I'm going to turn it off. And I'm going to turn it back on. And while it's on low here, I'm going to give it the surge. Give it a good surge. All right, so let me explain what happened and why it happened. I spent 280 amp hours of 24 volt and 105-degree shed for a couple of hours of using this thing to find out how much it could actually take. It happens. You push them, you push them, you push them, and they burn out. It isn't a matter of whether or not an inverter or you're going to have a problem with some of them occasionally. I had some fans go out in the thing, and I think it just got hot and overheated. Now, I have to say, the company responded really quickly. They found me a bunch of technical help, made sure they understood what the problem was, and shipped out a new unit and got it there very, very quickly. So I'm very happy with the way they handled it. You're going to have to be a judge for yourself on whether or not it is a real issue or not. I can tell you, I tried to break it. Now, because I succeeded, does that mean that I just did what I had to do to break it? Or the device itself wasn't up to specs? I can tell you, I turned this heat gun on at 1500 watts, and I surged it over and over and over with another 1500 watts from this one that's consistently running. And together, they consistently would run at about 250 amps, but they were surging well above that. It held it for hours before before it finally gave out. I believe that the fans burned out. I opened the case and I didn't see any broken fuses or anything, so I think the fans gave out and it just overheated. I think it was just a fluke, and I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I will continue to use it. They've replaced it for me. I'm going to continue to use it. I think it's a good product. I think they've done really good. It is an automatic transfer switch, not a charger, but that's what you need, is an automatic transfer switch. When you plug it in, it switches to the grid power, and your battery bank and everything operate independently. When you unplug it, it takes over. And if that's what you want and that's what you need in case of an RV, in case of a lot of other use cases that you could use it for, you can use this to plug it in and run backup for a refrigerator. If the power goes out, then the refrigerator jumps to a backup bank. Otherwise, the backup bank just sits there waiting for it. It becomes more of an ups than it does a continuous supplement your power. But that is what it's designed to do. It's an automatic transfer switch. It's not designed to be an off-grid inverter where you can run it and then you charge only when the power gets down to a certain perspective. In my mind, the device did really good. I've done everything at this point except hook it up to 48 volts. So that's what I'm going to do next to make sure that it still functions at 48 volts. Everything that I've done up to this point has been at the extreme 24 volts because I needed to be able to test the extreme. 2,000 watts at 48 volts isn't really much of a test, and it wouldn't have really put it through its paces. Now I've put it through its paces. Let's find out what happens when we hook it up to 48 volts. All right, so let's play a little game here. We're going to come over here to the battery bank. I have switched the battery to a 48 volt battery. We put it on this, you can see that that's maybe you can't see. Oh yeah, right there. That is 53.4 volts. So we do have a 48 volt battery. All right, so at this point what we're going to do is we are going to turn the bus back on, and I should liven up all of the solar chargers, which it did. Okay, so I'm going to turn the inverter on, and as you can see, it does come on. It registers 54.1 volts. and it shows 120 volts. And we're going to run a little load on it just to make sure that it's good and that it is operating as suggested, that this is a 24/48 volt battery inverter. We're just going to make sure that it runs and uses about the right amount of amperage. As you can see, 1400 watts, and no problem whatsoever running it off of 48 volts. So it looks like they have done a pretty good job here. We do have an inverter that can handle both 24 volts and 48 volts, allowing you to upgrade as you move along, and to have a automatic transfer switch so that at night, if you want to plug in when you come home from yard service or whatever, and have your thing run off of grid power and stuff, you can. If you have a cabin or something that needs, to just have backup power, you can do that. If you have refrigerators that just need backup power, but you want them to be able to run when the grid is on, off the grid, and transfer automatically, great for RVs and all that kind of stuff. And hopefully that answers all your questions, but I'm going to include a link down below, and don't forget there's a great special going on for Amazon Prime. And the price discount that they've told me about is pretty darn good. So I encourage you to follow that link down there and get yourself one, and we'll see you on the next video. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.